spent my first 15 years trying to get out of the woods because I thought it was horrible. And I spent the next 20 years trying to get back. The truth of the matter is we need to be well-rounded individuals like our forefathers were.
Yeah, buddy. Here we are, another day. Who we got in the house here? I got comments. Why don't I see all my comments? I don't know where my comments are at. Let's see here. Live viewer comments show up on the StreamYard. There's too many buttons. That's the problem. That's the problem, people. Just remember, there's Guy. We got Guy up in the house here. We've got a few eyeballs I see watching. Remember, guys, like, share, subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. We need all those subscribers up in here. Make the algorithm gods happy with us so that we can keep doing what we're doing. And, of course, Brian, he will be on here in a little bit. Mr. Sexy Pants is busy. So we're going to have to wait for him to get a bunch of gear together. He's working on orders. But we have the lovely Jax Genega in the house. Jax, what have you been up to?
Oh, where do I begin? Yes, I am coming to Mountain Readiness in May. That is on
That's
the calendar.
right. She's coming back. She's coming back. She took a little break. But she's back. Be back in full force with all kinds of cool stuff we're talking about that is in the making currently. So it's going to be awesome. But what have you been up to here lately? You've been all over the world.
Yes.
Colorado. I mean, you did some really awesome classes. One of those I almost died class, tried not to die. We thought you were going to die.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We thought, I was like, man, don't die, Jax, because then you can't come back in May. So
I headed out to Colorado in late May of this year, where I was instructing for the Survival University in Cripple Creek, and I was also running my own classes for Wildcard Wilderness alongside them. It was awesome. The Mountain West has been so good to me. I love the people there. I love the nature there. And then I took the hunter-gatherer course with the Boulder Outdoor School of Survival. So that was life-changing, eye-opening, hard, rewarding, great.
Right. Now was this the 7-day? Was this the 7-day class? No food and all that kind of stuff, or was that a different one?
Nope, it's that one. So actually, it's a 14-day class, and the first.
My bad. Shorted you a whole week.
Well, no, the first 5 days you do get food, and you're in preparation for your expedition, and then you travel as a tribe, as a hunter-gatherer tribe, trapping, hunting, fishing off the land, living the primitive ways of the Paiute people that inhabited that land about 600 years ago. And
sweet.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It's weird how torture can sometimes feel like a vacation. It was great.
Yeah. And we talked about that a little bit, about that whole last part of that, no food, not a lot of food anyway. That hunger when it starts sinking in. Right.
Yeah, no. And it's like you feel really cleansed and you feel a lot closer to nature. And I was very proud of myself. I fed my tribe. I was the one who was procuring a lot of the mice for us all to have for breakfast every day. It was great.
I mean, every bit counts.
I was very proud of that. And then shortly after the boss course. I wound up going to Rabbit Steak in Idaho, and I taught this year. So I was very proud of that. It's a very prestigious primitive skills event that's been around for 37 years. And it just meant the world to me that I got to share what I love to do with people and
Absolutely.
out there. Yeah.
37
And then,
years? I did not realize they'd been around that long. That's amazing in itself.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a really impressive event. Predominantly, it's all skills based.
Right.
And yeah, so it's just practicing ancestral skills, and it's just a great way to meet people, great way to share knowledge, skills, craft. Beyond that, I would say it's really not a festival, it's a gathering, and it's about kind of your roots and new family connections. So what I love about events, every event I kind of find my tribe, much like the Mountain Readiness event. So very
Yeah, we
drastically
missed you.
different.
We missed you this last
I
one too.
know.
Everyone's like,
I
"Where's
know.
Jax? Where's Jax?" I just told him the truth. I was like, "She bailed on us." She was like,
That I mean, that's not entirely true.
"That's
I
true."
just
I
happened
didn't get my dates out as fast as I should have. So,
Yeah.
that will be done come December 1st. Everything will be up for next year. So, thank the Lord above. Thank sweet baby Jesus. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. That's what we're trying to do. So you've had a like super busy year. How are you going to outdo this for 2025? You said you've been booking up. You're already booking up then for next year.
Yeah. So I was actually just telling Russ this before we hopped on. From mid-February through about mid-September, I have almost every weekend booked with teaching, events, and a personal celebration to honor the fact that I'm turning 40 this weekend, actually.
Oh, it's this weekend.
Yeah, my
What?
birthday's on the 23rd. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, happy early birthday. So what is the gift? What are you gifting yourself for your 40th next year?
So it's not 100% booked yet. So if I don't do it, sorry folks, but I'm planning, because I am going overseas next year, because I'm going to the Bushcraft show and I'm going to be giving a talk on one of the main stages there. I decided to add on some extra time to revisit some friends and family that I have in Europe, but I'm going to take some personal time to hike the GR20, which is a trail that goes from north to south on the island of Corsica, and it's rated one of the world's toughest treks, and apparently upwards of 20 people die every year doing it. So
wow,
let's
pushing
go.
the limits. It's like Point Break. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
You remember Point Break? Be like, how far can I push this to the edge? Adrenaline junkie. Jack's the adrenaline junkie.
I think it's one of the better addictions to have, I guess. But I think that's what kind of speaks to the world of what we do in the self-reliant space, is just really testing the limits and discovering what you're really capable of. So
yeah. What do we got going on here? What does Tooch know that I do not know? Is there a story behind this?
There is, and it's one that will be shared around a campfire at another time.
There's a campfire one. All right, I see. There's a couple of those stories actually that I was actually Brian and I were both sitting there for a couple of your stories. That was last May though. We won't go into that detail though. We'll keep that on the down low as well. Thanks, Pete. Thanks for just like throwing that out there where it got starred and where I thought I was supposed to ask that question, but really I was supposed to leave it alone, it appears. So, man, we got a bunch of people in here. Christy, Teresa. We got Butt Nuggets Homestead. Man, I dig some butt nuggets as well. That's awesome. Butt Nuggets Homestead. Welcome to the debauchery of Mountain Readiness Mondays. Not internet friendly is what Pete said. So
Nice.
Patrick 7, starting the first day of 2 weeks PTO time that I didn't want to take. And you're going to lose it. You know, Patrick, you could have come to Mountain Readiness with some of that PTO, but you'd ghosted us. That's what happened there. Could have come, but he didn't. So you just got through doing a class at Georgia Bushcraft.
Yes.
And, well, a bunch of classes, but you did a 3-day intensive class.
Yes.
Yes. Tell us about that, because we're going to be doing something of the same thing there at Mountain Readiness.
Yes. Hey, Becky. Oh, I missed you this weekend. Hey.
Becky Christopher. Howdy, Becky. Thanks for joining in. Tell Paul we said hey as well.
I was gonna call you earlier. I'll call you later. Okay. So, you know, the class kind of came by a happy accident. So predominantly I teach usually in my all women's courses at the Georgia Bushcraft location outside of their events. But this year, there has been a request to have a land navigation course, and the instructor, Craig Cottle, who normally teaches it, couldn't make it this year, so I got asked to do it. And I said, absolutely, because it's one of my favorite things to teach. But aside from that, like land navigation really speaks to my roots and how I really got involved in the bushcraft wilderness survival space, because it all came from solo hiking. And for me, you know, when I was introduced to the wilderness, you know, a bit of a late bloomer, I was so deathly afraid of the wild. I was afraid of getting lost. I was afraid of injury. I was afraid of wildlife. So I studied it. And so it began small. You know, it began by me camping in my friend's backyard, learning how to build fire. But getting lost was one of my greatest fears. So I started to study navigation pretty early on. And it was just books and a little bit of, I had heard about orienteering. So I would practice orienteering. And then eventually I wound up getting some formal training in it. And then last year when I was in Sweden, there's actually a portion of the trail around 80 miles that you actually have to land nav in order to go through it, because there's so many lake and river crossings.
Wow.
And so that, for me to be able to share a subject and a skill that I value and love so much to a greater audience is just such a gift. And yeah, for me, it's also like with navigation gives you the freedom to really explore land and new places and yourself. So that's, if it wasn't for that skill, I wouldn't have had, I think, the courage to explore a lot of places on my own, and to be able to then share it with other people. So
this year getting in touch with your inner Viking is what it is. That land nav, that uncharted parts of the entire world. Has there ever been, on one of your quests and journeys that you've done, has there ever been like a whoopsie moment where maybe you got really lost, maybe you fell down, got busted up, something bad? You know, give us some good tidbits, like that one time.
Yeah. So I've had a lot of whoopsies, I guess.
I mean, we can talk about all of it. You know, that I love those stories where, you know, it's that sense of realism where you look up and you're like, oh no, what just happened? Where am I at?
I would say, out of all the things I've faced while isolated in the wild, the scariest moment for me was what's the word for it? I was in a whiteout. I was in fog, and so a part of it, and then because of that, I got lost. So I was in the Alps, and I can't remember which mountain I was ascending, one of many, and I was crossing from France into Italy, and it was just pouring rain, just hail, droplets the size of golf balls, and I'm ascending this mountain, and all the paths are just getting washed out by streams. I'm literally throwing boulders in to safely cross these streams. And I get higher and higher up the mountain, and I see people coming down. They're saying, "You have to go back. You have to go back." And I'm just like, "I've made it this far. No, I'm going to keep going." And then I go higher. And then all of a sudden, it was just like this high speed train of fog. You could hear it, you could smell it, you could see it. And it was just this total whiteout. I couldn't even see my feet. And
Wow.
so I'm trying to, at that time, I was navigating by my phone, which, by the way, is not reliable. Which is why you should really know land navigation.
Right.
So yeah, so I'm that, and I somehow I get off the trail, probably because I'm blind, and I start to have that panic moment where I'm like, I can't see anything, I can't even see my feet, and I sit down, eat a Snickers.
That's,
And
I mean, that's how the commercial usually goes.
yes.
Is you eat a Snickers and then boom, you're in the game again.
Yeah. Well, as I'm sitting down, there's this sign, this aluminum sign that's face down. And I flip it over, and it's just this image of a stick figure, just like, ah, like falling off a cliff. And I had realized that I wandered so far off the path that I was on the cliff's edge, and I stopped.
Oh, wow.
Right in time before I had plummeted to my death, essentially. And then I wound up crawling on my hands and knees, and it was through the texture of the gravel that I realized that I was actually back on the trail. And then just continued not too far, maybe like 200 or 300 meters on my hands and knees before I got past the fog and it cleared up, and realized that.
And you didn't die.
That I didn't die.
And once again,
yeah.
I threw Tammy up here. It seems like Tammy may know some stuff, have some dirt on you, is what it sounds like by this statement. I just threw that up there. Is Tammy who I need to speak to?
Tammy
in regards.
is a very well-loved friend and student of mine. So shout out to Tammy.
she may have a little something out there. All right. So Tammy, come see us. Come see us in May. Let us know what you got there. And then of course, she was hangry. That's why she bit into a Snickers. It was like you had to get rid of the diva.
That's right. Well, they say the top 3 killers of the wild are drowning, heart attack, falling from great heights. But really, the number one thing is actually your ego. So what I should have done was actually not climb the mountain.
But then you wouldn't have any cool stories. If we did what we weren't, if we did what we were supposed to do, then where do we get all these awesome stories from? So I'm on the fence there. I'm on the fence there. Like, sometimes you shouldn't, but sometimes it makes a great story.
It makes a great story. Exactly. Yeah. No, that was probably the most significant getting lost story. There was another one that happened years prior to that, where I was on the Appalachian Trail and I was sitting on this mountaintop. It was just a day hike, and all of a sudden this wind picked up, and I was like, okay, I need to get out of here. I need to get back to my car. And I started running down this mountain, and I totally just like overshot the trail and realized that I was completely lost. And the winds were so bad that I just kept going. I was like, I have to get down. I have to get down. I have to get out of the trees. And I come across this field, and I actually knew the people who lived there. So I come across this field, and I'm just running across the field, and to my left is a tornado.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right. That's that doesn't happen every day.
Yeah, no.
So
in a weird way,
come on, Toto, come on.
Yeah.
It's like a Dorothy moment.
Yeah. So, but that, in a weird way, I almost wonder if I had actually did make it to my car, would I have been in more danger? So sometimes I think your gut kind of pulls you to.
Is that? I mean, it didn't get your car though, did it? Your car was okay. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. In the house. So I wound up going into the basement of this farmhouse with a couple of other folks, and the house that we were in was totally fine, but the neighboring houses weren't.
Right.
So it was just one of those like weird. We got really lucky.
I've experienced that as well. Same deal. Like there was a tornado that went catty corner back and forth. You know, it picked the roof of the house we were living in. It picked it up and turned it and set it back down. It turned it like 3 inches and set the whole roof back down. And then the place across the street was just gone. So yeah, pretty gnarly. That and the living in a tent many years ago. With my family in my younger days, we had a tornado while we were in the tent. That sucked. I'm going to tell you that right now. Tents are horrible to be in with tornadoes.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Golf ball size hail and stuff hitting it. Yeah, not cool.
Yep. I've been in a couple of hurricanes myself and in some tents. Yeah.
That's rough. There we go. And she is the complete badassery right there. Mr. King, what's going on, brother? Good to have you with us. We ain't talked for a while, man. I need to touch base with you here this week before I head back out. And well, I may be heading back out. I don't know. We'll see what happens towards the end of the week. I've been working out of town here doing the relief stuff. But speaking of people with bedazzled pants, we have Mr. Brian Loftus, the Triple G, Mr. Sexy Pants. That's for you, Paul, if you're out there. The man with the prettiest pants in the bushcrafting industry has joined us. What's going on, bro?
I told Paul, I said, just wait until May for the Mountain Readiness event in May. I said, I'm going to find best jeans. I'm going to have those things bedazzled.
Yes, sweet cheeks. Boom.
There you go.
Like a rhinestone cowboy. Kind of like that.
All right, so do we want to tell that story, Jax? You actually tell it best. Have you guys told it yet?
I don't know. No, we haven't told any stories about your fancy pants.
I think you should tell it.
Actually, no, you tell it better because Paul actually spoke to you.
Yes. So, all right, I'm going to probably butcher this story, but I'm going to do my best.
That's all right.
But it was something like, okay, so I was at the May event. Your booth was Survival Gear BSO. It was across from mine, Wildcard Wilderness. And my buddy Paul comes up. And I don't know what came first. It was like him talking about your jeans, being like, what kind of jeans is he wearing? Are they women's pants? And it was...
I don't remember the women's pants comment, but just go with it. Let's go with it.
Right.
And my mic cut out.
Are you good? Are you good now? All right. Yeah, we were just getting to the good part.
Yeah.
I know. But yeah, so basically I was like, yeah, that's a good buddy of mine. And then something along the line, I don't know, then the nickname Sweet Cheeks.
And then she said, no, he's not gay. She said something like that.
I'm not gay, but $20 is $20, okay?
$20 is $20. Yeah, it is.
No, I think Paul came up to you and he's like, who's this guy over here with the fancy jeans on? And I had shown up because, this is the first event that I did with you. And I actually ended up showing up at like 3 o'clock in the morning because I drove from Pittsburgh, PA, out to Harmony, North Carolina. And I showed up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I parked next to this camper. I'm like, all right, like, I'll see if I can get a few hours of sleep before I have to set up because it's dark. I have no idea where I'm going to set up at. And I'm sitting there on my phone, and I start checking emails for like 2.5 hours. So I got maybe like an hour and a half of sleep. And yeah, I was wearing jeans. And apparently my jeans are a little bit too fancy for Paul Christopher. And
a little bit too sweet is what it is. He may have a little sugar in those britches.
And I heard that freaking rooster start crowing, start just flapping his freaking jaws at, maybe 20, 30 minutes after I tried to go to sleep in the front seat of my 4Runner. I'm like, I'm getting no sleep whatsoever. So, of course, I have my outdoor, apparel, and I hadn't had a chance to change into that yet. So I'm wearing regular jeans, and Paul wasn't he wasn't keen on the jeans I was wearing, and he walked up to Jackson like,
He wasn't keen.
Who is this guy? Wearing these fancy lady jeans. It's like I didn't have anything bedazzled. There were no rhinestones or anything, but I guess there were designs on the back pockets, and it just wasn't jiving with Paul.
Yeah.
And
Didn't cut
Jax was like, so he's like one of my best friends. He's like, Paul's like, I don't care. The guy's wearing fancy jeans, and he's just busting my stomach. So he comes up to me maybe about a half hour later. He's like, listen, I don't know who you are, but I want you to hear it from me. I called you fancy jeans to Jax. And that is now your name. And then fancy jeans spun into sweet cheeks somehow. And it's been an ongoing joke for like the last almost year.
And he's like, I hate to see you go, but I love to watch you leave. Something along those lines, I think is what I heard he said. I don't know. Maybe. That's good stuff, though. I can't wait for May. I agree.
Yeah,
I can't wait till May, Becky, just to see the pants that Brian has in store for us.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
I can't wait.
We're the skinny jeans guy.
I'm looking for the best jeans I can find, and I think I'm going to find somebody on like Etsy who can just like bedazzle the hell out of them and put a whole bunch of rhinestones on them.
No, that's what we need. That's what we need right there. And no, skinny jeans is where we draw the line. There'll be no skinny jeans that's where we have to shut it down. I'm sorry, Guy. I know you guys are all getting all spun up, listen to the sweet cheeks talk about what pants he's going to wear, but skinny jeans is not going to be one of them. So,
but I'll tell you what, Paul and Becky Christopher, they are some of the best people you're ever going to want to meet in your entire life. And Paul and Becky, myself, Jax, you were, maybe about a week ago, we just finished up Georgia Bushcraft.
Yeah.
And we always kind of, the three of us, four of us, and everybody else in the industry, everybody communicates. Everybody's, down home. They're really great people. And I've done Paul and Becky some solids. They've done me some solids big time. Becky, I know you're on here watching. A huge thanks to you for taking care of me as far as the condition I had on my left leg.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, Jax, you saw that.
Was bad.
Gee, did I send you pictures of that?
I seen it.
Yeah.
It was pretty brutal. They fed well on your calf in
They
the
sure did.
area.
So, unbeknownst to me, the first night we got there, it was about 3 nights before the event started. It was middle of the night. I didn't have a headlamp on, and we were setting up camp, and the guy right behind me had a 4Runner. I have a 4Runner. The guy next to me had a 4Runner, so we're all kind of chatting. Unbeknownst to me, I had planted my left boot smack dab in the middle of a fire ant hill in Georgia. Now, I don't know if anybody has experienced the fire ants in Georgia, but they are no joke. No joke.
Yep.
So they climbed up my left leg, and they bit me from my knee down to my ankle so bad. My leg went from here to here. And our last day there on Sunday packing up. Now, this was on a Wednesday. It initially happened. And Becky came over on Sunday, probably late afternoon, early evening, and she said, I've been sent to have a look at your leg.
Yep. That was me at center. I was like, dude.
Did you send her?
Yeah, I was like, you should look at Brian. It's pretty. I also got attacked by fire ants in the Porta-John.
I heard you did.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
Not
a good place.
That's a whole new level of being attacked right there.
Like a Fear Factor episode. You're in this tiny little jail filled with fire ants. And
they're nasty.
But
Becky had to look at it, and she's like, listen, you need antibiotics like right now. Now, fortunately, one of the companies I work with here at Survival Gear BSO is called Duration Health. And Duration Health is one of several companies out there that does emergency prescriptions and antibiotics. And she said, let's go have a look at what you have in the back of your 4Runner. And I opened up my entire kit, and she said, doxycycline. That's what you need right now. So I started pounding doxy on the spot. She said twice a day, every day, take Doxy. The next day, my girlfriend and I got back here to Pittsburgh, and we didn't even come home. We went straight to Med Express, and they said, okay, you're on Doxy, that's great. We're going to put you on a second antibiotic. Both of them combined did the trick. I mean, it was great. I mean, thank God I had those emergency antibiotics in my vehicle. Otherwise, I'd have really been in a bad place.
And that's what preparedness is about right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Keeping that stuff handy. Battle Gnome. Yes. Valdosta. Valdosta, man. Any of y'all been to Valdosta, Georgia? Either of you guys? I don't know what. It's South Georgia. South Georgia. I don't know what it is about Valdosta, but that place is like the hottest place in the United States. I kid you not. I used to work down there. It's like, I don't know. The air is different. It's closer to the equator for some reason. I don't know what it is, but Valdosta sucks, to say the least. And then you throw fire ants on there. Then Louisiana has some really bad fire ants. We used to pour gasoline down the fire ant hills and torch them up and, burn them on out like that because, and I know Georgia does the same, but they used to build these humongous mounds. I mean, these things are like ant cities. And, my grandfather, one day he was like, hey, go pour some gas down that ant hill. I'll be out in a little bit to light it up. I was like, cool. I was a pretty young kid at the time. So I carry a 5-gallon gas can out there, and I dump the whole 5 gallons in this thing. And then I go and get another 5 gallons. I'm like, I just keep filling it up. He comes out there and strikes up the anthill, and about 15 feet behind us, the whole yard explodes. I mean, we blew the whole freaking yard up, 10 gallons of gasoline. That's what it equates to. So don't pour 10 gallons of gasoline down the anthill and fire it up. You will blow your yard all to pieces. That's what we did. Do not take what we got here and go to sleep. Technicolor of dreams. I don't know. Is that a real thing?
Okay.
Are you sure you were using? Look, we're not talking about shrooms. Battle Gnome. All right, we were talking about penicillin. Right, this is penicillin we're talking about. You guys need to get your heads out of the gutter, man. Good
you know
grief,
what? It's actually not too far off. So, number one, you never, ever want to take doxycycline on an empty stomach. Like, that's a recipe for disaster. It's going to cause so many stomach cramps. It's unbelievable. Like, you'll be running back and forth to the bathroom like no other. So, eat it with something. In my opinion, heavy in carbs. So, some sort of bread or pasta, something like that to kind of help it, dissipate in your gut, so it doesn't cause you a lot of gut havoc. The dreams, actually, I never really thought about that, but the dreams I've had, and today was my last day on Doxy. This is day 10. They've been a little weird. They've definitely been a little bit weird. And my girlfriend's like, so you're screaming like no in the middle of your sleep? I was thinking, well, I just thought it was Paul Christopher climbing all over me because I had fancy jeans on. No, totally kidding. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely been some strange dreams. I never actually, did a 30,000-foot view of what it's like to be on doxycycline. I've been on it a number of times, but come to think of it, there's been some strange dreams.
We're given doxy as malaria phylaxis when I was deployed to the Horn of Africa. Did not know that. That's cool. That's cool. I remember the don't get in the sunlight thing too.
Yeah.
Was, Becky had, she nailed that one. Don't get in the sunlight. It's like gremlins, basically. Don't feed them after midnight. Don't get them wet. Wait, sunlight wasn't. Yeah, you couldn't get them in the sunlight either, wasn't it? Isn't that what it was with the gremlins? Maybe. I don't know.
It was water.
It's been a few years.
Water.
It was water. Don't feed them after
water.
Midnight. Sunlight may just be vampires. I don't know. I'm not a TV trivia guy. So, the Triple G, the go-to gear guy, Mr. Brian, you were gathering up some gear because
yes, I was.
Jax, of course, has a kit that we can talk about since she's here on the show with us.
She has 2 kids. So
two kits.
She does. So Jack's, her brand, Wildcard Wilderness, is one of a couple of schools that I work with. And Jackson and I formed an alliance a number of years ago. So we started training at some of the same schools, some of the top schools in the world. Have you guys gotten into, okay, first of all, as I was gathering up your gear, I saw Tooch post something about, is there a story about a tree? I'm like, oh my God, do we have to get in this story? You said, it's a story for around the campfire, and you're exactly right.
Yeah.
And there's another story for around the campfire.
There is another. Yeah, we were at the same campfire with Jax for a very interesting story.
She has all sorts of stories.
There's a lot of stories. Jax is a
lot of stories.
Very colorful stories.
But again, that's one of the beautiful things about actually going out to one of these events like Mountain Readiness, like Georgia Bushcraft, or going out to one of these training facilities, wherever Jax might be teaching, because she goes all over the country, everywhere. So you never know where she's
traveled.
Well traveled, exactly, very well traveled. And if you go to one of her courses, you're going to be able to share a campfire with her at night, and she will share these epic stories with you. I can guarantee it. So we're not going to spoil it here.
You gotta come to Mountain Readiness. You want to hear the stories, or exactly. Colorado or wherever she may be. A well-traveled lass.
You have to come to one of the courses, one of the events. There was a good one, which again I'm not going to get into the P's and Q's of it. When Jax and I second course when we met, she sliced her hand up in bad.
I second that concur.
Really bad. I mean,
yep.
A lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was looking at your wall, and I'm like, "Oh man, is that the butt saw he made the weekend that he took me to the hospital?" The butt saw.
Yeah, the one right behind me, right here. This is the butt saw I made at that course, and
very cool.
Is the exact knife that you filleted your hand open on right here.
Ooh-wee.
Or a 120.
I can still see this.
Even the experts have a little slip up now and again.
But yeah, they do. They honestly do.
They do. Everybody does. If you haven't cut yourself to the bone at least once, are you really a bushcrafter? No.
Exactly.
No, you're not. What's going on, Chuck, with Homestead Medical? Glad you joined us, brother.
Man. Chuck and I were talking earlier today. He's a good man right there. Good man.
Absolutely. Awesome medical. I got to get with you, Chuck. We're supposed to have a chit-chat, you and me and Wes and everybody. We got to get together and do some game planning, because Chuck is going to be doing some classes as well at Mountain Readiness. So we got to get all that set up. But what do we got for gear, man? I want to see this. I have not looked through these gear bags.
So as far as gear, I know I got a little off track there because the stories are freaking awesome. They really are. Again, you have to show up to one of Jax's classes or Mountain Readiness event. You're going to hear some epic stuff, let me tell you. Okay, so
epic.
Jax, her brand, her school was one of the few schools that we work with. So we kind of pick and choose who we work with all over the country. And we have schools, again, we're based in PA. So we have schools everywhere from Washington State to Colorado to Texas to Maine, Massachusetts, and Jax, she travels everywhere. So she's developed a couple of kits. And I believe this is her survival kit, the Wildcard Wilderness Survival Kit. And they only go from here, let me tell you. They only go from here. So let me see if I can get this in the camera view here. And she's got a bushcrafter's kit as well.
Yes.
So you can actually get these kits either with or without the pack, because a lot of people, they have their own packs, so they don't want another pack. They just want the gear to fit in the packs they already have. So right here we have a sling bag. A sling bag here, this is what it does. Let me flip this thing around. Actually, this is set up for a left-hander. So I'm a right-hander, but it is ambidextrous. You can set up like this. Now, this is not fit for me. I'm kind of a big guy. And these things kind of come standard. But you get the idea. You can loosen these straps. You can tighten the straps. It's a quick release.
So I'm wearing that the wrong way then. I wear it the other way, and maybe that's why Amber says I need to. Well, actually, Amber told me, I said, "Where's your purse, babe?" And she said, "There's only room for one purse in this couple with your man purse." So if I flip it the other direction, then it really isn't a man purse, a man satchel. It's a sling. Yeah.
It's a sling or a merce. A man
merce.
A merce. I'm sure Paul, if you're still watching, I'm sure you're just going to be all over me about that. But
he just like
in a merce, like he's going to be all over me about that.
Yeah, he's there.
So you can wear it across your back, and there is a secondary strap that actually comes around here, and that's why we get a lot of bikers, motorcyclists, who actually catching my eyeglasses, old man things. And that looks way cool. Secondary strap that can come. Again, these things come pretty tight, so it's not hanging all over the place. This is a brand new pack here. If I would loosen up to my size, it's very easy to do. I'm not going to do that here. It's going to take like 10 minutes to do. But yeah, it comes up here and straps across your chest. So we get a lot of bikers who actually buy these sling bags from us. Of course, black is one of those popular colors. So you get this large sling bag here, and you're going to get a few items with it. It's got a small pocket in the front. Let me angle this down so you can see the gear and not my ugly mug. And again, this is the Wildcard Wilderness Survival Kit. So you're going to get some of these H2GO stormproof matches. So these matches, guys, you can actually dip these matches after you light them. You see the long wick there? You actually dip these things in water. We have something on our YouTube channel, Survival Gear BSO, that shows us dipping these things in a glass of water, and you pull them out, and it will actually relight. I mean, remember back in the 80s and 90s where you had those like magical, birthday candles? You blow them out, and they actually relight. It's kind of the same idea. So you get like 20 of these matches. You see how long those are. Strike the head of the match. As long as this thing burns, you can dip it in water. You can pull it back out. It will relight again over and over and over. You have your striker there. You have a spare striker in here. It's just a freaking awesome fire kit. Now, when you run out of matches, you're like, well, what am I going to do? Well, the basic is your Bic. Your Bic lighter. Listen, if you don't have a Bic lighter on you at all times, even if you don't smoke, you're doing something wrong. Okay? You have to have that thing on you. Now, when you run out of matches, if you run out of fuel in the Bic lighter, you have a 6-inch by 1/2-inch ferro rod. So Jack's picked this particular ferro rod out. You guys probably can't see, maybe. You see that little machined hole in one end there?
Yeah, we can see it.
You can run paracord through there or shock cord through there so that you don't lose that. This is one of the longer ferro rods on the market. And
I'm just looking at, just on that ferro rod, though, I'm going to say with a piece of paracord through there, I bet you I can whoop somebody stupid with that thing as well. That's a self-defense. Like braid me up a paracord on one end, I straight up beat somebody stupid with that thing.
It's like prison
Perfect.
stuff.
Self-defense.
Like batteries in a sock or doorknobs in a sock, bars of soap in a sock. Yeah.
Self-defense, man. Self-defense.
Yeah, that's what we'll say. And then you get basically a small fire kit here. This is one of your, again, bushcrafter fire kits. This is from Mercware, Emberlit. So you're going to get a Fresnel lens and a sleeve here. Again,
right
this
on.
is solar. Got a nice little sleeve in it. And then you have your Altoids tin. And it comes, I just took it out of this bag here, as you guys couldn't see. Comes in a nice little canvas bag. And you've got your jute twine in here for starting fires.
Nice.
You have a piece of chert, and you have some char cloth. So this is, if you want to get down to the basics of fire starting, if you don't want to use your matches, you don't want to use your lighter, you don't want to use your ferro rod, this is what you're going to learn on right here. And Jax, she teaches the bare bones basics of fire starting. And her, which I'm actually very disappointed I did not win at Georgia Bushcraft, one of her blades, the Ripper, I put in 12 tickets for that thing.
You put in 12 tickets for that?
I put in 12 tickets, and I was like, I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win. I did not win it. I was pretty PO'd. So no,
I'll tell you,
go ahead and buy one from you.
Being that I have an insider's, hookup, I actually have one of the first runs of that knife we bought from Jax. We got from Jax the very first run was oh, look at that, man. You've got it all duded up. You've got the bearing block on it there too. That looks familiar.
Yeah, that was the bearing block.
Yeah.
That's the one I want.
That looks slightly familiar.
Yeah, so at Georgia Bushcraft, I wound up raffling this whole thing as one item.
Very cool.
Replace the Viking whetstone with another ferro rod striker. But yeah, so I mean, I needless to say, use it quite a bit. Use your tools, folks. Use your tools. Thank you, Brian.
You must have the hookup because if I knew somebody, I might be able to get one. But I don't know anybody. Okay, so anyhow, we're not done. So that's the small stuff. You can fit in the smaller pouches here in the front. And the large pouch here, of course, if you're going out for any type of survival course, you have to have paracord. This is a 100-foot bundle of 550 rated 7-strand paracord. You also have a Mora knife. This is the Mora Companion, probably the most popular model. And again, Mora is out of Sweden. Very, very comfortable handle. Your basic plastic sleeve right here with a belt clip on it. So you're going to get that. You're also going to get one of these silky pocket boys here. They call it the pocket boy because you can fit it right in your freaking pocket. You honestly can. It's very, very small, very compact. It's a great cutting tool. So a lot of times you're either a fan of Baco or you're a fan of Silky. I'm a huge fan of Silky. I love Silky. Two more things left in the Bushcrafter kit from Wildcard Wilderness. We have the Red Rock Tactical Shamag. This is like 44 inches by 42 inches, all cotton. Colors may vary, but we try to keep this red and black in stock because that's what Jax likes. And we have one more thing here. This is not just a poncho. It does have a hood on it. It does have a zipper right here. It does have a drawstring for the hood, but it's also a makeshift shelter. So this is a very large poncho. It's heavy-duty PVC, and all four corners of the poncho, the grommets are hollow. So you actually run this paracord through it or bank line or whatever you have, and you can fashion up a makeshift shelter for yourself. I've actually had to do that. It's been about 9 years now, but I did about 9 years ago. So you just got to tie off that hood. You twist it, you tie it off with a little bit of that paracord so it doesn't drip on you.
That's a win-win too. I mean, you're two birds with one stone. Two birds, you got a shelter and you got your poncho. That's awesome.
Yeah, it really is. So Jax, well done. Thank you for putting together the kit. If you want to purchase that kit, you can purchase it from Jax. Jax, your website, rattle it off, please.
Oh, it's wildcardwilderness.com. I backlink to Survival Gear BSO as well. You can buy my own swag, but I also highly encourage you to go check out Survival Gear BSO. Check out the kits and other things that Brian offers and all the good stuff.
Heck yes. And there's wait a second. Oh, I had it up, and then Russ beat me to it, and I knocked it off because he's so fast. Thanks, Russ, behind the scenes as well, Mr. Russ Sawyer, the man behind the curtain, the Wizard of Oz, the Wizard of Mountain Readiness Mondays. You also have some other cool gear that you carry as well. You've got the bearing block, which is the leather necklace, which I thought was very awesome that we worked together a little on. And then of course Shankle really killed it on that leather.
Yes, he did. And then the bearing block also comes in $10.95 now. So you can also get a spark from that also. And then you could also buy a fire steel, a striker that I designed or is inspired by my logo. But that also comes in its own kit on my website that has fat wood, flint, quartz, char cloth, a little bit of oakum, which is kind of just like another way of fluffy packaged jute, essentially. Gahagan with Valhalla Custom Knives and Tool have been working with me on these products, and I've been very pleased and having my designs become a reality.
Exactly. And it's good stuff. We love it. I love seeing the stuff. The bearing block I really liked. It just looks cool on top of being a functional piece of equipment.
Yeah, it's very popular too. And it's just like once you have it in your hand, it's like it's got a nice weight to it. It's a multi-purpose piece of kit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm pleased.
What is going
on? When you're out in the wilderness like that and you're trying to do a bow drill, make a bow drill kit or do a bow drill fire, it's very difficult to find a handheld that will work properly for you. So if you have something on you, already, I mean, you're already ahead of the game. You're way ahead of the game. In my opinion, that seems to be one of the most difficult things to find is a proper handhold, because you don't want a lot of friction in that handhold. You want it to flow very, very smoothly. A lot of people use the oils from either side of their nose or their forehead to put up in a wooden handhold, something like that. So it gets pretty difficult. So when you have a handhold that's already developed for you in that kit, I mean, it takes a lot of guessing and a lot of time out of the game.
I'm trying to pay attention, and you nailed it, Brian, but everybody just keeps coming back to the fancy pants, and John Galloway, Mr. G, the other G, not the triple G, the single G, he hit you with the whole, he said, does Brian have the fancy jeans on? Like he missed that first part that we had the whole conversation. No, so now you got Tooch. Tooch is a shit stirrer. He's gonna try to get you to do something that you'll regret later on. So, but that's how Tooch is. I wonder how was Vegas, Tooch? Go ahead and throw us up there. I bet you were into all kinds of messed up stuff.
He just came back from Vegas, right?
Yeah, he was doing all kinds of stupidity and debauchery out there. It's a given. It's a given with Tooch.
They say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Oh yeah, I asked him. He ain't gonna say nothing though. He knows.
Got herpes.
He knows that.
Comes back.
So, and of course, Mountain Readiness guys, May 2nd through the 4th. We are going to be having classes on both sides, intensives. We've got NC Scout Brush Beater is doing a basic comms class. We have, I think Forward Observer is going to be doing a class. We've got Tactical Rifleman doing 5 days of classes. I plan on talking with Chuck at Homestead Medical about doing a class. And of course, Jax, we're going to move forward. We're not sure what the exact date is before or after the event, but we're going to do this land navigation class, which is 3 days, correct? It's 3 days.
Yes.
What can people expect?
Land nav course?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I just did a land nav course here at Georgia Bushcraft. It
I
was
know you did.
awesome. Yep, and then I'm doing another one in Virginia in the fall. But definitely want to do one at Mountain Readiness. I'll probably still do my token tree and plant walk.
Yeah.
But what was actually really cool about the course that I had just ran, well, while the size of the property was limited, doesn't mean that you still can't learn a great skill. So I had 2 days prior to the course starting, I think I had upwards of 70 tags out in a 25-acre property. So anytime they went out and go to do nav, they weren't rinsing and repeating what they were finding. But one of the things I had them do is I added my love of trees to the subject of land navigation. So I had tagged 25 different trees with some tape saying, what kind of tree it was, what the species was. And I would give them grid coordinates. So I had some groups had 5 coordinates, some groups had 10 coordinates. And I told them, tell me what tree you found. And they're passing all of these different kinds of trees, but they have to tell me the point that they were given. And the students did great. And they also got to learn about trees at the same time.
Trees, which I think I said the tree whisperer. I like that. I'm going to start calling you the tree whisperer moving forward.
Yeah.
TW.
I like that.
There we go.
Yeah,
man. Actually, that was one of the most difficult courses I'd ever taken. Was actually Jax was in the course. It was in that class navigation.
With you, yes. We were paired when we first started, remember? And then on the first day we were partners.
I don't think that was the first class we took together. We took
but the first day of the land nav class, you and I were partners with a third person.
Yes, we were.
Yes.
And then the second
did you
day,
ditch Brian? Is what happened?
No,
you were like, anyone that wears pants like that, I refuse to work with.
That was a disaster for me. It worked out well for Jax. It was a disaster for me. Long story short, she had told me about someone she had been in a course with at the same school prior to the classes we had taken. And she's like, this guy was a disaster. He borrowed this from me. He borrowed this, and he had lost everything I gave him, and he was totally off the mark, and yada, yada, yada. And she's telling me these, horror stories. I'm like, oh, my God, how terrible. And because there were supposed to be an even number of people in this course, and there ended up being an odd number, I got looped in with Jackson and somebody else. I'm like, okay, we have a great group of people. We all know what we're doing. So the first day was great. I think it was about halfway through the first day, and the even number finally showed up. And who was it but this guy that Jackson had been telling me about? And she's like, oh, my God. Bro.
No, I'm an awful person.
This is the guy. I'm like, fuck. And they're like, okay, so, Brian, you're going to pair up with this guy. I'm like, motherfucker. And we got lost, for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
2.5 hours. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess. I mean,
but you guys come back from it. That's the main thing. You came back. You lived. I'm sure you completed the task. So it made you a better person. It was made you a better person. Yeah, Jax was good.
If you say so. You say so.
Although I did get lost during that class, and then which resulted in me having to drink from a pond, and then I found out about 3 days later there was a plain worm that was eating my eyeball, and then and then 6 weeks later I was diagnosed with Lyme and ehrlichiosis. So
sweet. Shouldn't have drank that water. Maybe I don't know.
We filtered it. I shouldn't have.
A worm eating an eye. That's the tough part for me. Everybody knows I've got eyeball problems, eyeballs just. So how did you even discover it was eating your eye? Like you just looked in the mirror and you're like, what is that? How does that even come about?
Well, it's a pretty gnarly story, but as I was driving back to driving home, which was a 12-hour drive from where we were training, I just kept feeling like really teary-eyed, and all of a sudden my whole left eye goes completely just white, and I look in the mirror, and it's gnarly. It's just a giant just pus just coming out of my eye like a waterfall.
Oh,
Yeah, it was pretty grim.
sweet.
And then yeah, wound up going to the hospital, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, there's a worm in your eye."
It was
Yeah.
in the eye. It wasn't just like, so it was in the eyeball was a worm.
Oh yeah, so and then it was
That's
just like
utterly disgusting.
and then it carried its own bacterium. There were all these drops and antibiotics. I'm lucky I could see, to be honest. But yeah, that happened.
Man, what's up? There's
Cool,
our
that's
people.
gross.
He's like, cool, that's gross. Right on, Jim. Jim or Jess, Jim and Jess, whichever one it is of you there. Yeah, I thought
So, but here's
it
the
is a
thing.
cool story.
Well, I had the Grail, and I filtered the water, but what I wasn't careful about was I splashed my face with the pond water, and that's okay. Sorry, Christine.
No, what
So
is it
mine
over in
was
Amazon?
the
The urea fish or whatever. That was the one that always like freaked me out. Because eyeballs is bad, but that one, like, I couldn't even imagine. A little fish swimming up your junk that has spikes. I'm like, no, definitely not.
I wonder if Flowers has any stories about that.
I'm gonna have to ask him next time he's on.
does.
I'd be like, have you ever caught one of those spike fishes of your junk? Joe? That's what we want to know.
Right.
So,
He caught it in the most awkward way possible.
Oh God. Who knows?
yeah.
Who knows?
But
anyway, going back to land nav, we're gonna be doing a land navigation course sometime before or after the Mountain Readiness event. Yeah, I'm excited. I love teaching
it's
it.
gonna be awesome.
Yeah. What's really cool for me, and I hope this doesn't come off as like me being, conceited or whatever, but I've been really blessed to have trained with some really amazing schools, and I have a lot of really great mentors in my life. So anytime I teach, I feel like I get to like pick and choose and scratch the surface of what I thought was the best way to convey information on top of, how I personally convey information. So for me, land navigation was one of those things that, you have a little bit of people that have a military background that give you this information. And then you have a people who have a lot of more like, traversing the wilderness landscape that give you this information. And then there's a lot of the like, what do I need to know information and then what have you. So for me, it was just, I just get to share what gets me really jazzed and really alive about navigation. It's like, did you know that a compass can be a clock? You can tell the angle of a mountain and, should you hike it because it could be 38 degrees and that's avalanche risky? And can you do this with that? And that's the thing, is about taking the education and the knowledge and then actually doing it and showing you like, yeah, like this is how you navigate by the sun, not just tell direction. How do you navigate by the sun? How do you use trees to navigate? Anyway, so
now,
I think
it's great.
About it.
Yeah.
Most people don't know there's 3 directions for north.
Yep.
So there's your magnetic north,
Yep.
there's your compass north, there's your true north.
True north.
Yeah, and a lot of people I actually had somebody ask me in a class. They told me in a class. And I asked everybody, I said, so which way is north? And I had someone say, well, north is always in front of you. Really? So I turned this way, I did 90-degree turns. I'm like, so is this north? Is this north? Is this north? And then, of course, it stumped them. Of course, that was not the dumbest question I've ever had, believe it or not.
That is true, Will. This is true.
What do we get?
Don't. Now, I think, and look, guys, so let's see here. Mountain Readiness, May 2nd through the 4th. The tickets going on sale December the 1st. I'll put them up on the website. That's when we're going to put them. if you get tickets, then you get privy to all these other classes. Tooch is doing one too. He's doing the Troy's Gate experience, which, by the way, Jax, if we do your class before, then you can go Monday to do that whole Troy's Gate experience, which you missed when you bailed on us.
I did.
I just got my videos like 4 hours ago.
Oh, did you? Oh, nice. Yeah. Let's play them next week.
Oh, we should.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's do it next Monday. We're gonna throw videos on there. So, but yeah, we've run over, guys. Brian, leave us with some wisdom, man. There was something out there. Just whatever.
Wisdom for me? Are you serious?
Yeah, actually. Let's see. Did I send you my video to Troy's Gate? No, you did not, Christy. I don't think I got it. Let's see. Troy's Gate again. Did I? Now Christy, I haven't seen it.
You just handled it, girl. You really did it.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
She was way better, actually, like in action than she was on the range practicing. Like Christy.
She had the great idea too. She said that you need to bedazzle BSO on your pants. You need to do the Survival Gear emblem, the whole bit. Yeah, do that little
That's not a bad
on
idea.
There.
Not a bad idea.
Maybe one on each pocket.
Ball.
One on each pocket.
Disco ball with rotating colors or something.
You know, I got a great idea. I'm not going to say it on this live, but I'm gonna hook you up, Brian. I have a great idea for your outfit. I'm gonna help you win this. You and Paul. I take it you and Paul are battling now on this. I'm gonna help you win this, brother. I'm telling you, this is gonna be amazing.
I think this is actually gonna turn. It was a joke at first, but I think this is actually gonna turn into a thing. Like this is gonna be a thing between Paul and I.
Shankle, yes. Hook us up. Hook us up. We'll throw a pair of those on as well.
Chaps, man. Come on, let's do it.
It keeps getting better.
Say assless chaps. So it's kind of like saying, the bachelor who's single. All chaps are actually assless. So
this is true.
Shankle, I want some chaps, bro.
We need to make that happen. I've got a phenomenal idea. Wow, this is going to be great. We're going to, maybe we should have like even a contest one evening when we're doing our raffles. We're going to do like a showdown between you and Paul about, we'll do who's got the best get up, who's got the rhinestone cowboy, bushcrafter. Yes. Yeah, we're going to do this. It's going to be great. I can't wait. So, I don't know. I guess Brian doesn't have anything.
No, I do.
Throw us something, Brian.
I do.
Hit us.
Okay, so words of wisdom. As I told you guys earlier in this podcast, my company, Survival Gear BSO, we partner with some of the best schools in the entire country. And we've had a lot of schools reach out to us and say, hey, do you want to do something with us? And we evaluate them. I'm not going to mention the schools, and we decline to work with them. Even schools that are like literally 25, 30 minutes down the street from me, I never want to do business with those people. We pick the best people in the country. And Jax is one of those schools. She is one of those people. And she travels, again, if you guys are just tuning in right now, she travels everywhere in the country. I mean, she goes out west. She goes down south. She goes up east. She goes everywhere. She's living the van life. Like, that is her life. If you want some of the best bushcraft and survival training in the country, you have to link up with Jax at wildcardwilderness.com. That's
oh my God. Thank you, Brian.
Partner with her because I have known her. Not only have I known her for so long, I've known a lot of people for a long time. And I refuse to talk to them. Not just not do business with them, but I refuse to talk with them, period. Jax, you and I have known one another for a number of years now, and I know that Jax is extremely well trained, and she runs one of the best curriculums in the country. So if you want to get some of the best training in the country, no matter where you are, contact her because you never know where she's going to be. Every time I call Jax, I'm like, so where are you in the world? Like who knows? She could be in Scotland, in England. She could be in Spain. She could be 20 minutes from me. Nobody.
Who
knows.
else has got a worm in their eyeball? I mean,
And a worm in her eyeball.
Stuff like that.
And
You
she
can't.
got
How
that
can you
call,
top
like,
that?
Right after that class, she's like, Brian, I got a freaking worm in my eyeball.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah.
Couldn't
Well,
agree
thank
more.
you.
Jax,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Lead us
Thank
out of
you.
here, Jax.
Oh God, I have no idea. I'm so thank you, Brian, and thank you to yeah, it was an honor to be on this. I think what I love about this community is that we're all wild cards. We're all meeting the unexpected within. We're all meeting the unexpected in the wild, and so we can all learn from each other. And what's great is working with people that lead fantastic events like Mountain Readiness, people that distribute amazing gear like Brian, Survival Gear BSO, and this community that's involved in this chat. It's great to be a part of one big, happy, self-reliant family. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on that
Yeah.
note, guys, we're wrapping the hour up. And I will say, of course, thank you, Brian, as always, brother. It's always a pleasure. Even though we
Great
talk about
going,
your
guys.
pants, you know that we love you. That's why we talk about your pants.
Yeah.
And of course, Jax, we love you as well. You've been at our very first one, and I'm sure you'll always be around because you are awesome. The things that you do are inspiring. Great campfire stories. That's it, guys. Come to Mountain Readiness, get you some awesome training during, before, and after. And sit around a campfire. That's what it's really about. Sitting around a campfire, hanging out, building those relationships with your fellow man and woman. I mean, that to me is what this community is about. Getting together and enjoying each other's company and learning from one another. So
Agreed.
Thank both of you guys. Thanks all of our viewers out there. And without you, this wouldn't be possible. All of you guys is what makes it possible. So until next time, remember, if you're going to move, make sure you move with purpose. I am T. I will see you next Monday. Later, guys.